Good morning, world. It is Wednesday, March 8th, 2023, and looking out the window here in Harper Woods, Michigan, where I am, it's kind of a overcast day, and I think it's going to be in the 40s today. Not sure what it's going to be in Defiance. I didn't look at the weather. The devotion for today is entitled, Whose Side is God on Anyway? Written by Marilyn Pajan Banks. Marilyn bases the devotion upon 2 Chronicles chapter 20, verses 5 through 7 from the Message Bible. Then Jehoshaphat took a position before the assembled people and said, O God, God of our ancestors, are you not God in heaven above and ruler of all the kings below? And didn't you make the natives of this land leave you as you brought your people Israel in, turning it over permanently to your people Israel, the descendants of Abraham your friend? And Marilyn writes, during a recent dinner party at a friend's house, after sharing stories of kids and grandchildren, teasing those of us who struggled with the spiciness of the chili, okay, it was just me, and talking about recent shows we had seen, the conversation turned to faith in connection to the embodied behavior, emboldened behavior of white supremacists who claimed to be Christian. We grappled with how not only interpretations of the Bible often reflect how humans have signified God. I first learned this from the Reverend Dr. Joanne Terrell, womanist and professor at Chicago Theological Seminary, but the Bible stories themselves reveal this as well. Our storied lives are based on how we understand and relate to God. When I read this passage from 2 Chronicles as a Puerto Rican in the diaspora, I absolutely cannot relate to the colonizers' experience of God. Thankfully, in our spicy theological conversation, rather than waste time talking about that ain't the God I serve, we agreed that to live as a faithful Christian is to follow the commandments of Jesus. Love God, love your neighbor, love yourself. This made things clear even as we agreed how hard it is to truly follow these commandments, especially when your neighbor is a raging racist. End of prayer. God of our ancestor Jesus, forgive us for creating you in our image and retelling the story to suit our own agendas. In this Lenten season, may we seek to be more like Jesus, reflecting your love, grace, and justice in the face of death, denial, and despair. Amen. Well, a couple of things this devotion reminds me of is how people do use the Bible or interpret the Bible to support their beliefs. They recreate God in their own image. They recreate Jesus in their own image. Because you can, I think, truly prove any point of any side of any argument using words from the Bible. Because the Bible, while it is inspired by God, it is not God. To hold the Bible up as God is bibliolatry, a form of idolatry, worshiping the Bible rather than God. I firmly believe that the Bible is a human product of humans trying to make sense of what they feel as their or have experienced as their interaction with the divine. And sometimes I think the stories reflect their own internalization and justification of actions they have taken to oppress others and to actually, in some cases, commit genocide against others of God's, equally of God's creation. So it's important to discern the scriptures, and I think that was a main point of Jesus's teachings was understand the scriptures in the right way and what they really mean. And as all three of the synoptic gospels say, it's love God, love your God, love God with your entire being, love your neighbor as yourself. And I think it's Luke that adds in there that all the law and the prophets, what they meant as the scriptures, hang on those two or depend on those two. So if you're not interpreting those understandings through loving God with your whole being and loving your neighbor as yourself, you're not interpreting it correctly. Hope you have a good day, and I hope to talk to you again tomorrow.